Welcome to Your Apple Update. I'm your host, John Sherrod, and we are less than a week before WWDC, Apple's annual Worldwide Developers Conference, where the keynote will kick off on June 3rd. That is next Monday as I record this right now. And so that means that we are starting to get into the leak time where whether Apple wants to or not, some things are starting to leak out ahead of the event. And what we got today from 9 to 5 Mac and from Guilherme Rambo, and I hope I'm saying his first name right, but this guy has just been hitting it out of the park lately with Apple leaks. And what we've got here is something that we've talked about and has been speculated about pretty wildly for the last little bit here. But now we have confirmation that Apple is indeed going to have a system-wide dark mode in iOS 13 because of some screenshots. And if I'm doing my meager iMovie skills right, you should see some pictures of this. Again, this is from 9 to 5 Mac. I'm going to have a link to their webpage, their article, in the description of this video so that you can take a look for yourself and read the full thing that they have, because they've clearly put in a lot of great work reporting and getting this information out. Now, again, nothing too surprising. When we had dark mode come to macOS last year in macOS Mojave, it really stoked the fires of those who have been wanting to see dark mode come to iOS for a long time. And it seemed like a foregone conclusion that it was going to follow the Mac and come to iOS this year. And here we go. Here it is. If you look at the screenshot, you'll see that on the home screen, you're not going to see a whole lot of difference. In fact, the casual observer might not see any difference because really the main, if not the only thing that you're seeing there is that the dock is a dark gray or black transparent background instead of a more clear white type background as it is currently in iOS 12. And then in the middle of the screenshot, they have a look at the Apple Music app. And again, you just see exactly what you would expect to see in a dark mode from iOS, something that's going to take full advantage of the OLED screens on the higher end iPhones where you get those real true blacks. Again, something very similar to what they've done on macOS. And then the third part of that screenshot, they show the screenshot UI. So if you're taking a screenshot of something in iOS, this is the UI that you get. And a couple of interesting things about that. One, it shows what it looks like if you have dark mode enabled. But also, if you look and you see at the very bottom the annotation tools that are there so that you can mark up the screenshots that you take. They're much more colorful. What we have now in iOS 12 is just a very monochromatic, flat-looking thing. And this is more colorful. It's maybe a step back toward the more skeuomorphic design that we had in iOS 6, but not nearly in that far extreme direction. But maybe the pendulum is swinging back toward that just a little bit with the design language of iOS 13. So it'll be interesting to see if we see more signs that it's heading more back in that direction a little bit. All these design elements and tendencies or circular things tend to come in cycles, and so wouldn't surprise me to see some of that come back. They also mentioned that it'll be really easy to toggle dark mode on and off either in Settings app or in Control Center. It'll probably be one of those things where you can kind of customize, how you can customize what's in your Control Center. You'll be able to add a quick button for that so you can go back and forth. What I'm hoping for is something that is, I will probably stick to the light mode, but I'd be interesting to experiment with if there's a mode that maybe senses it based on ambient lighting in the room and lets you, have it switch to dark mode or light mode accordingly. Or maybe just experiment with using dark mode at night, especially if you're lying in bed at night with all the lights off and all the light is coming from the iPhone screen. Having something a little darker there will be interesting to play with. They also have a little screenshot of what the new iOS Reminders app is going to look like. And they also have a screenshot of the icon for the new app. We talked about on a previous video that Apple is merging the Find My Friends and Find My iPhone app into a single app. And hilariously, in the screenshot they have, the app is now just called Find My with nothing else after it. So it'll be interesting to see if that name changes to something more permanent or if that is just a working title for the app in this early pre-release version that we've got there. But we'll find out. The betas for this will probably be available probably the day of the keynote next week if you're in the Apple Developer Program, and at some point not too far down the line, but usually it's one or two versions later, there'll be a public beta. If you're in the public beta channel, you'll be able to get access to that. But we will know a whole lot more really soon when Tim Cook and Craig Federighi and all the other Apple executives take the stage to officially unveil this stuff. I will, of course, have videos going over all the stuff that gets announced next week, providing some analysis, talking about what excites me. What are you looking forward to? Are you looking forward to using dark mode in iOS? Is there something else that you're really hoping Apple's going to announce next week? Let me know in the comments what you're thinking, and be sure to hit the subscribe button so that you get the latest updates, especially this time of year as we're heading into a really big news season for Apple. That's it for this Apple Update. I'm your host, for your Apple Update, I'm your host, John Sherrod, and I'll see you next time.